Previously on ShitFlix.
If they harm one hair on her head, oh!
Matt, don't you leave me. Not like this.
Not like this. Don't get it, do you?
I may not be a smart man, but I know what love is.
Just sit down and shut up!
I will never let you go, Jack.
Who's Jack?
You should go.
Not really. Who's Jack?
They took your dog.
They took my dad!
And now the epic conclusion.
What the fuck is Titler?
Und dann werden diese beiden Einrichtungen gemeinsam
I got her back.
Oh, Matt, you're back. Gone for like a week. What's been going on?
I killed them all.
You killed all the Nazis.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, well, probably should have shown that rather than me sitting here for a week. So yeah, genocide. That's you've committed genocide.
Nah, Nazis aren't people.
Nope. That's pretty much what they said about everyone else, the Nazis. So no, you're a war criminal now. Please leave.
This is my house.
Do you know what that text message said? Like, did you actually read it before you stormed out? Because I actually read it.
No, they had a Laura.
Okay, well, I'm going to paraphrase the important part for you. All they wanted you to do was watch a single movie and review it. That's it. That's all you had to do. I watched the movie. Not as bad as genocide.
Oh. That probably would have been quicker.
Yeah, it's just a little bit quicker.
I should probably watch the movie then.
Yeah, you should watch the fucking movie. There. Now we've both watched a movie today.
Puppet Master X. X is rising.
Axis Rising.
And my dog is gone. Well.
Oh well. That sucks. Puppet Master Axis Rising. What can be said about this movie that we didn't already say for the last one?
Well,
It doesn't have Dakota.
and it does the Atlas Shrugged treatment.
Yeah. If you haven't watched the Atlas Shrugged thing, one of our complaints is that
Go over there and watch it.
yeah,
first.
watch it, do it. But the cast is completely swapped out in this movie. Well, here, before we do any of that, shall I give a plot?
Sure.
Okay. Puppet Master X. Charles Band's Puppet Master X, Axis Rising, is a direct sequel to the previous one that we watched. Puppet Master 9, Axis of Evil. It picks up immediately where it left off, we think.
No, it doesn't.
Or maybe several months later. They never really say. Where the... Fuck, I'm going to forget all their names. Danny and Beth are now trying to get back Tunneler. In the last movie, several puppets were stolen, but now it's just Tunneler. So they are trying to get back Tunneler.
From the Nazis.
And they discovered that the Nazis now have it because it was stolen from the Japanese woman who took it in the last movie, but in the first 2 minutes of the movie. The Nazis have it because they're trying to crack the secret to reanimation so their armies can be immortal.
Sounds like Hellboy.
Yeah, so then they, that's their whole shtick, and they are enlisted by the U.S. Army to fight the Nazis because they managed to clear out one warehouse with 2 Nazis in it. They must be ready for a full fleet.
Full of bombs with no guards.
Yeah. From there, the puppets just kind of help however they can. They create the puppet six-shooter, who is known throughout the whole movie series. And, of course, they win. Along the way, they met introduced to us was a blonde, I guess, SS officer.
I'll get into her in a bit.
Who is called, in this movie, Uchi. Uchi.
Begins with a U.
USCHI, I think. Or maybe it's Uchi. I don't know. Point being, she wasn't important because she died. For no reason. Because she was sex-starved. She was the sex kitten in this. They made 4 new puppets, besides Six Shooter, all of which were evil puppets, including Bombshell, Blitzkrieg.
It's kind of funny that you said sex kitten because there's an infamous movie called Salon Kitty about Nazis.
There you go. Wehrmacht, was that it? Wehrmacht. And
but it's spelled like where, like werewolves.
It's a werewolf. And Kamikaze. And they do exactly what you think they would do. One of them's a werewolf.
Kamikaze is like the worst racial stereotype.
It is.
In this movie. It's actually kind of funny.
I know that plot really wasn't a very good plot, but in reality, whatever you think is going to happen in this movie within the first 5 minutes of turning it on, it's exactly what happens in this movie. Nothing is subverted the whole way.
At least more shit happens than in the first of this little duo of films.
I don't think it did.
I think more happened just because there's the plot, or at least the Nazis in this one, had more of a diabolical scheme than simply blowing up a building.
They did, but at the same time...
This thing that looked like it had actually worldwide ramifications for what it might happen to bring.
But what it might happen to bring. The problem being...
Somebody watched Hellsing.
That the doctor character who was creating the thing, he never got his machine working even once to bring back reanimated people. He even said, like, midway through the movie, it works on puppets, but I can't get it to work on people. And then it's never elaborated from there. He just brings puppets to life.
I know, after that point, I'm talking about the...
Oh, the intro, yeah.
Yeah, so the fact of the matter is, like, there's a more, for the Nazi anyway, there's more of a concise setup for the reason why he's there. But for the reason why the people get involved is just because Tunneler...
They want Tunneler back and also just to fight Nazis. Because that's a good enough reason to do anything.
Well, as a continuity error also, the fact of the matter is that Tunneler apparently dies.
Maybe, maybe not.
He burns in a fucking fire.
Maybe, maybe not.
If he doesn't, they still pulled all of the serum out of him, so he's not mobile anyway.
Yeah.
He got away with this shit.
At the very end of the thing, there's the confrontation between the evil puppets and the Nazis against the good guys and their puppets. Because in a horror movie in which the original one had the puppets killing indiscriminately, this movie, they're fighting for America.
Well, it depends on the master.
I don't fucking care.
America.
That is...
We have a Sarge in this and whatnot. Get the whole, crew cut.
Sergeant Stone.
Yeah, we just call him Sarge.
Yeah, I guess.
Sarge. He eats like a pig.
Yeah, he's very...
That's the joke.
He is America.
He's America.
Defined.
I went on 10 tours. With what? It's 1939.
Okay, I don't even know where to begin with this. This is so similar to the last movie.
I also want to say, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, people, but at the same time, I don't even think, when was the term tour of service first used? It wasn't in World War II. It was probably in, like, Vietnam. Because that war went on for 10 goddamn years. So that would make sense of if you have, like, consecutive all those tours.
Beats me. But that's... The problem with viewing the factual inaccuracies with this movie is that... I mean, it's kind of a cop-out to say, like, oh, it's a work of fiction. Some things had to be changed. Yes, but at the same time...
Effort.
Yeah. The opening movie, the first movie in this, Axis of Evil, had to fit in 1939. Just because of the way that Puppet Master 1 was made.
Yeah, and also how this movie was incorporated and how it started.
So that's understandable as to that being set then. This one, however, hey, we don't even know what time it is. it's some indiscriminate amount of time after the first movie, to the point where, like,
The houses they live there are different.
well, no, it's supposed to be the same house.
But it's not. It's
That's kinda
not.
weird. But
Because the first one, they have like this 3-bedroom apartment, and then the second one, they have like this 3-floor house.
we mentioned in the last one that it took place filming in Asia.
This one didn't.
This was filmed in Los Angeles.
All in LA.
Yeah.
So actually, they probably shot in an actual Chinatown.
If even. I remember maybe 3 China signs.
Unless it was actually just shot
Okay.
all on set.
The house earlier on in this, during the opening joke, that was the house of the
Yeah.
guy.
Go back and look. We'll wait. All right, right?
But it didn't. Every time that they showed it, it was from several different angles. There was nothing to indicate this is Chinatown anymore. This is an LA
This is
suburb.
white suburbia.
Yeah.
He's like, yes, but they kept the period cars at least. Bravo. That's what you get. All right, one thing I want to say about these Nazis: these Nazis are out in full Nazi gear the whole time. Armbands, full-on uniforms and shit like that. Like, you can't go walking around any American city, especially in 1939 to 40 like that. There's some Nazi sympathizers in the U.S., but not that many.
In the last movie, it was they were all dressed in black trench coats.
Yeah.
For most of it. There was one point where
They look like guys from Dark City.
he put on his outfit for whatever reason, but he stayed in an opera house. He wasn't actually out there. But
And he
these
ended up
guys,
dying there, too.
these guys, wow, they're just
They get out of the car,
everywhere.
like, fucking...
Nazi.
Nazis with full like machine guns and shit. Like I don't know. Like do you guys drive around like the day like that?
Yeah.
Like do you like a speeding ticket? It's like hello officer, where we going too fast?
I was just so happy to see my Führer.
This is one of the reasons again why we constantly get banned in Germany.
Moving on from that, I don't know. It's so hard to really define this movie because it's so bleh.
They had a couple good effects.
Yeah, but nothing really above and beyond.
Most of it was just basic camera tricks.
Let's talk about the puppets, I guess. The puppets are completely unchanged from the previous movie.
Yeah.
Nothing at all happens differently, except, and I may have just missed it from the movie before, the puppets in this one are very, quote-unquote, vocal.
Yeah.
They make a lot of noise for being these... Yeah, when they introduce 6-Shooter, all he does every fucking time he's on screen is...
These puppets aren't supposed to make noise.
At all. They're supposed to be silent killing machines.
That's what makes them creepy.
But, I mean, Pinhead was totally silent as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell if it was Bombshell or Leech Woman. That when those two were fighting...
Bombshell made noise.
There was a lot of like...
She cackled when she was doing that. She's like...
Yeah. I think Blade even made noise. I think he was like...
Yeah, like Blade should make noise.
Blade should never make noise.
No.
And I'm not even a fan of the Puppet Master series, and I know Blade should never make noise.
But, I mean...
The puppets, I don't know. They were pretty much the same. It was
The
just
puppets
the
are the puppets. I mean, you really can't say much about it. They've been the same designs basically since the first movie came out. But at the same time, the...
Talking about puppet designs, though, one I want to talk about is Blitzkrieg. The tank.
Yeah.
He was a tank. It was a tank that just opened fire and could kill, like, people with its guns. And they were pretty high, powerful stuff, too. It just makes me wonder... Bombshell, her whole thing was she did the Austin Powers thing, where her bra essentially came down and...
It was seriously like it was a scene right out of Small Soldiers. Like, you remember the scene with the Barbies? And shit like that? Like, that... It was like... That's exactly what it felt like.
But anyway, Blitzkrieg, he had just big-ass shit. And I'm like, why not just...
Make them all
Yeah,
like
make
that.
a lot of that. Is there some unwritten thing in Puppet Master lore that no two puppets can look the same or something? Because that's,
You want to be creative.
I guess. I mean, yeah, no audience is going to want to see an army of the same exact thing, but still, just logic-wise.
Getting to another character, as I said at the very beginning, the woman in this.
Beth or old chick, though?
The Nazi.
Uchi.
She is bearing everything for everyone to see. Like, an insanely amount. But then, the first thing I noticed, and all you exploitation fans out here would get it, the first thing I noticed about her entire wardrobe is that it was Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS. the 1975 movie and whatnot. I don't know if Brad Jones is covered it or not. Go over to the Cinema Stop and see if he's covered it. He's talked about it enough. But the fact of the matter is, there's not even a difference. She even has the writing crop. Like, the thing is, she is 100% that character. I'm like, all right, now you're not even trying.
It might, I don't know. When I think...
Or maybe you're not counting on me noticing that.
Okay, when I think sexy Nazi, which isn't a thought I have often, mind you.
You have it on occasion?
If I have to.
Well, to be fair, when we watch this movie...
The first thing that would pop into my mind is that. And I've never seen the 1975 thing. I think it might just be a cultural osmosis sort of thing.
Well, that was the first one that had that look.
That's fine, but I think it just sort of bled over and now belongs to culture and society as a whole. If you think sexy Nazi, it's that look, the buxom. Whatever.
It looks way too close to it. Maybe. I'm just saying, and also the thing is, I don't. This is made by Charles Band or Brand? Band. Charles Band. He's been here. He was the guy who created the original film. I don't know if he directed the original film, but he wrote it.
And he's been producing on, I think, every one of them.
Yeah, he has been involved in every single film. So he has been guiding these movies since the very beginning. I don't believe you haven't heard of that movie. But at the same time, though, you should know fucking better by this point. 10 movies, dude! 4 of which were done by Dakota. Damn!
I don't think we did. Did we mention at the beginning? This isn't Dakota anymore.
No, this isn't Dakota.
This
is Charles Band.
Charles Band.
He wrote and directed it, I think.
Yes, and probably produced as well.
Yeah. So, Charles, all right, I think you're the only person who wants to keep this series going. I was even hearing words about a possible remake and whatnot of this series. I'm like, guys, you can't do that.
This was 2012.
You aren't Chucky.
This was 2012.
Yeah.
And I mean,
2 years after the first one was released. I mean, the Axis of Evil was released.
In preparation for this review, I've looked decently into Puppet Master. I've tried to just understand what's been going on, how the storylines take place, blah, 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 blah. It seems like these past 2 films completely demolished, half the storyline.
Yeah, the canon is, destroyed.
And they're not even close to explaining their way out of it.
And the funny thing is, they're done by the people who created the original set of movies, too, so, there's no excuse.
You can understand retconning, because here's the thing. From 1939 to 1989, so 50 years, supposedly because of the first Puppet Master film, these things didn't move. They did nothing for all that time. Up to you if you actually believe that or not.
This movie says that.
This movie says that no.
Nah, they're fighting Nazis!
And somehow they made their way back to the original place where they should have been.
They don't even explain that at the end of the movie.
Which makes me think they want to set it up for one more, because at the end of this movie, they have
Well, it's been 3 years. It should be about the time for another Puppet Master movie. Charles?
They have the German doctor who's doing all the experiments walk away with a vial of the serum that brings puppets to life. So I think they were implying he's going to be the next Puppet Master because we didn't want to follow this young-ass Danny the whole time. Ooh.
I find it funny that with that scientist, his character is supposed to be this guy who has cured tons of diseases and saved millions of lives, but I'm like, he doesn't know how to figure out what the chemical compounds of the serum is.
It's 1939, though. You can't. That's not
They invented penicillin by this point.
Yeah, but that was not the same thing as looking into it and separating out.
They had microscopes.
They did, but not electron microscope, not the atom level.
You don't need the atom level.
I understand, but
you're just trying.
It's also magic, Matthew.
Magic.
It's also magic.
They say magic.
They got it from an old Egyptian dude. It's magic. It's alchemy. Go fuck yourself.
Do you believe in magic?
I don't.
Harry Potter didn't send me their letter.
There's nothing else I really want to talk. The effects is really all you can really say. Not when it comes
to
puppets,
effects,
but when it comes to blood and gore.
Some of the effects are good. Other effects are Adobe After Effects.
There was a machine that you are supposed to be able to put a dead person into. It sprays them with the serum, and then it brings them back out alive. Not healed, mind you.
Well, no.
Alive.
You get injected with the serum. With a girl, anyway. You inject it with the serum, and then you just you go all Tesla, and then you just shock the hell out of this thing.
Right, because electricity makes everything better.
Yeah. Get my creation live!
However, as soon as you step out of the machine, both 2 times that they used it, you step out, and then your face just
It goes all Raiders of the Lost Ark. Go, blah.
Yeah, where you just then start essentially, what's the word I'm looking for? Decomposing.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Rapidly decomposing.
And they did that on the old sheet, the bombshell lady, and some other just Japanese soldier. And both times it was good effects, comparatively to the last movie.
Yeah.
I don't know about Puppet Master as a whole.
I remember the effects being better in the old movies, but then that might be just nostalgia talking.
Maybe. And then the one that he's talking about is when Six Shooter and Bombshell shoot people, it's tiny little bullets, bing, 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 bing. As such, they just cause little After Effects blood explosions all over the body.
It's so obvious.
It's not even like a hole left
It's
afterwards.
painful.
It is terrible. That's, yeah. Is there much more?
Not really.
No.
I mean, the movie, like, there's not a whole lot that happens in this film.
Just do your final thoughts. I got nothing.
Yeah, like, there's not a whole lot that happens in the film, just like the last one. And the fact of the matter is also, it seems that the body count gets less and less as the movies go on. So I'd imagine like the body count's really high in the original one. I have to give it another watch. But overall, this movie it's forgettable. It's going to be, I'm not going to remember it, a month from now. So the fact of the matter is, though, it's just going to be a sad little stain on a carpet that you just see. And you're like, I wonder how that got there. Oh, yeah. Axe is rising. So.
For me, personally, I feel like these two movies could have been compressed. It would have been a long-ass movie, but you
could probably cut a lot of
the
stuff.
middle point of this movie should have been, or even not the middle point, the end of Act 2, should have been Tunneler getting stolen.
Yeah.
And in the final fight is them going to Nazi base to
discover why they were trying to go for the puppets.
Yeah, like the last act is
That's another thing too. I'm sorry to cut you off and whatnot. The Nazis are already trying to find the puppets in the first place, and then all of a sudden they don't know what the fuck they are.
Yeah. Then again,
Charles!
Wasn't it Max or Ben or whatever the fuck his name was in the first movie was like, I'm going to help the Fuhrer and I'm going to do these great things. And he didn't seem like he was having any help on this at all. He was like, the Fuhrer doesn't understand such things. And then you introduce this new guy, Mobius, that is then like, I am going to be better than the Fuhrer and I am going to understand
the Fuhrer's a fool!
It's like, guys, I get that you are power hungry, but why are you even under Hitler's control? You can just do these things. You don't need to be Nazis.
You're in America.
Yeah. This is the land of opportunity, man. You can just do this. Okay. But no, when it comes down to these movies, the end of the second act should have been them stealing the entirety of the movie. They should have known about the reanimation of soldiers. Like that should have been like, the Nazis are planning this and this. Then at the end of the second act, they managed to steal the Tunneler one. They go in trying to get him in the third act. Turns out that they've already used the serum inside Tunneler to bring some puppets to life. And when the general guy lays dying on the battlefield after he's already been taken out by the puppets,
Sarge.
Not Sarge. The Nazi one.
Sarge gets shot too.
Yeah, but he would just die honorably.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is when the Nazi general died, he goes into the machine and he's like, I will become immortal, as he's like bleeding out. And he comes out, and then you see that, oh, this shit doesn't work on humans. And you just end with that last gore effect. It's like, okay, we won. We're done. Tunneler may have been sacrificed at that point. Continuity-wise, it probably wouldn't work, but you could have done it. There's no reason that you should have split this up into two movies. At all.
You can't do the whole...
The first movie had absolutely nothing to it. In the last movie, you needed the first movie to understand any of it. They did no exposition. Except in the first movie, they never named the puppets. Unless we missed it.
And then like, at the beginning of the second movie, alright, this is Blade.
Blade and Pinhead and Tunneler, while he's gone, and Leech Woman. By the way, this is offhand, I just hate Leech Woman. I hate her. I despise... Not like I hate her as a person. I just don't... That's my scariest puppet for me.
Leeches.
Overall...
She creates leeches.
In this movie, it wasn't a horror film again. I don't know why in the Puppet Master franchise they're saying, let's not make horror films anymore.
Let's make it against Nazis.
Let's do him Let's do the puppets fighting for mankind's goodness. That's fuck you. Fuck you. Would I suggest seeing this movie? No, of course not. Fuck it. The only thing this movie taught me is that when it comes to puppets and when it comes to Nazis, you don't fuck with America.
Well, actually, I got some family in Canada. Can you give them a shout out?
Matt, that's not what the movie was about. You really fine, whatever. All right. Well, this movie taught me when puppets and Nazis and stuff, you don't fuck with America or Canada.
I actually have family in Ireland too.
Okay, fine. You don't fuck with countries associated with NATO. Is that fine? Are you good with that, you fucking cunt? Fuck.
But Ireland isn't in NATO.
I am going to...
All the bad boys want some road, it's tricky.